Welcome to another episode of The Dirty Negative. Welcome everyone. I'm Terry Livesey and
I'm Lewis James Phillips.
Yeah, you said that with straight face. Right, we've decided to set up this podcast around photography and we've called it The Dirty Negative. That doesn't mean you're going to get anything untoward in this podcast. It is about photography with a bit of comedy maybe and a bit of banter. Yeah, well, it's not intentional comedy. I mean, it would be comedy from their point of view.
So it looks stupid, Terry.
Yeah. So we're just here to have a laugh, but we're going to interview a few people on each podcast. Well, a person on each podcast. So it gives you a topic to decide whether you're going to hop into it or not, really, and hopefully have some fun. We're going to ask for questions along the way that you can submit from the website. And we thought, let's do a little pre-intro to the podcast and you can find a little bit more about us two and where we've been and how we've got to this point in life. So, Lewis, tell us about your journey and how you got to being a photographer here today.
All right, guys. I hope you've got 23 hours for this. So, how did I get into this? I, as a young person, I was asked to leave school a bit early, so I did. And then I went travelling, and I came back from travelling, and I thought, I've seen some incredible things. I need to really document a little bit of what I've seen and what I've done, and like, why don't we have it here anyway? So I then did a City and Guilds, I believe, at Barnet, where I passed actually, and it went from there really. I was shooting on medium format film. I had a Bronica as my first camera. It was a great bit of kit to learn with. And I moved to the Fens, which is a very difficult place to photograph, to be honest. And I sort of cut my teeth in the Fens. It went from there. And now, as someone who left school early, I'm now an academic, believe it or not. I like to say that as well, because most people wouldn't believe me. I nearly said I've got the receipt in there, actually, if you want to see it.
Is that a special one from abroad that you pay 50 quid for?
Yeah, I don't call it a certificate, it's a receipt.
Yeah.
I now shoot large format film. I've been working in all sorts of stuff. So I'm not just a photographer, I have a conservation business as well. And I sort of try and bring it all together. But now I'm shooting large format film, and my journey in photography is really wonderful now. I'm really enjoying it. So
I don't know how you do film. I don't have the patience for that. I want to see results and I want to be able to do something with it. Even though I might take a photograph and not do anything with it for 5 bloody months, that's irrelevant. I want the option.
I've learned a lot in life. Patience is a virtue. And I think also shooting in film, the story, obviously I'll explain that story another day, but I'm hopefully getting some negatives delivered today that has been a total disaster. And it's these things that sort of make you look forward to receiving them. Plus you sort of forget about what you've actually done.
Mate, that's just old age for me.
Yeah, you're probably There's nothing wrong with
dear. Right. Okay. So, what did I do? Yeah. So I tried to get into photography when I left school. Tried to get an apprenticeship back in the days of film, and no bugger wanted me, and it was just hey ho. So I ended up going to college and doing a second thing I was interested in, which was IT. Anyway, that was short-lived after getting kicked out of college for hacking. Anyway, but they made us sit the exam because we're the only group that were going to pass. But anyway, that's a separate story for another day. I set a few little businesses. I was always the entrepreneur trying to do stuff, and I failed quite a few times, I've got to be honest, and ended up having quite a bit of debt at one point. On a business that I'd set up, an IT business. And anyway, I ended up working in the TV and film industry. So we did children's TV. So we did animation and stuff like that. And we set this business up. And in the end, we had 110 staff working for us. We were the largest in Europe doing this stuff, and it did computer games as well. So we had computer game software, and that was great. It was really, really stressful. And when that finished, I somehow got back into IT through the brother-in-law, and then I set a business up doing that, and I built that up for 10 years and sold that because I realized I wanted to be creative again. And it drains your soul, IT does. It's one of those things. It's useful, but it drains your soul. So I decided I was doing photography and getting back into it. Digital cameras have been around for a while. I've been doing landscapes and enjoying it. And I just thought, I'm going to have a go at this photography business and see if I can build a business from it. And I sold the IT business and sort of semi-retired into photography, really, and decided now to get back into it fully. So for 15 years now, I've been a full-time commercial photographer, and we've done some pretty nice stuff, but we've also expanded into video as well now. It's not just photography because time moves on. And as your team grows and you do stuff, we've done that really, and we've gone into video. And I like video. Video's great. It's
This is interesting because it's not my sort of bag, to be honest. But I'm looking forward to this sort of thing. But Terry, have you written a book?
yeah. So actually, I've wrote a few books in my day. One was from years ago, was for a consultancy company I worked for, doing IT stuff, but it was on BS 5750 and ISO 9000. Really interesting topic, but needed to be done. And I did bits on that, and edited that for the consultants there. They wrote it. I didn't. I hadn't got that information in my head, but they wrote it. But I was credited down on the book, which I thought was good. And then after that, I've wrote a few others on photography, and I've got one just coming out now, which is probably why Lewis has mentioned it, which is So You Want to Have a Photography Business. And it's all about what to do and how to build a photography business. Because, I've been there, I've done that. I failed in my life in business projects and stuff. So little bits that I can pass along to help people. I've also succeeded a few times, but, I had to fail a lot to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of experience in that book, and it is a tough industry. So
Yeah, it
so,
is. I'm amazed how many people go, can you actually make a living at this? And this is other photographers because they've tried and they haven't got anywhere. And I've got to say, I am probably not the best photographer in the world. I'll be the first to say that because there's so many great photographers out there. But the business of photography, unfortunately, isn't just about how good your photos are. It's about how you put yourself out there and how you get those contracts and everything else in the first place.
I heard a really interesting thing the other day on radio, and I'm not going to plug the station, but it was just a quote, and it was there are there is talent everywhere, but there's not many opportunities, and that really stuck with me because there is huge amounts of talent about, but not everyone gets.
Yeah, so I sort of think I take a different stance on that because I sort of think you make your own opportunity. And,
What I just said, actually, what a bloody idiot that person was on the radio for saying that.
well, no, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. They see that. But I think if you've got the wherewithal to get up and go, and there's different people and different types of, if we were all the same, it'd be really blooming difficult and boring. In all fairness, we're all different. Some people can go out and get business, some can't, because they've got the wherewithal. They've learned it over time. It is a technique to learn. Some people just naturally have it because they've grown up in those circumstances that's afforded that to them. They don't realize they've got it, but they've got it. And that's really great. And I think it is, you can earn your opportunity. You've got to make the effort to go and do it.
I know, I do agree, but if you look at it from an artistic perspective as well, art is very difficult to sell. It's very difficult to. You do need a little bit of luck, selling.
Yeah, luck comes into it to a certain extent, but again, I still think you make your own luck. Like for you, for instance, you go out and you put your work into galleries, and you go and get a gallery to display your work, and then you sell a piece, and you're like, yay! But you know what? You only sold a piece because you went out and made the effort to connect with those people and put it in the gallery.
And like one of the things that I will moan about a lot on this podcast is the fact that we undersell ourselves too much sometimes. And I think when you look at the price of putting all your work together, the amount of time you spend out in the field, bloody bloody blah, we aren't selling our work. Well, I like to think I am. I'd like to think I want to get more really, but we do undersell ourselves, and I think it's something that it'd be a good discussion actually, be a really good discussion because we are literally, there's so much visual stuff in front of our face every single day, whether it be internet or social media, but to see a nice piece hanging on the wall is a bit. It is a
I
pleasure.
hope you're making a note of all these different topics that we can discuss in the future podcasts. Yeah, don't forget them, will you? Because actually, that's quite a good idea. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, everyone, this is where we're at. We're both commercial photographers, really. Lewis does landscapes, but he sells it commercially because he needs to make a living at the end of the day. He might pull a face, but actually, he's a fantastic photographer, an amazing photographer, in fact. That's enough. That's enough of the blowing the smoke that you're ever going to get off me.
Yeah.
So
Terry, your
take
stuff's
it.
all right, mate. Don't worry, it's good.
Yeah, it's all right. It pays the bills. Yeah, and that's all that matters really in terms of this. You can either go one or two routes. You do it because you love it and you want to just create stuff, and you don't give a monkey's what anyone else thinks. And I think that's amazing
I
if
like
you've got that. But the other is that you want to turn it into a business and you want to make money out of it because you either want a side hustle that brings in some extra income to your normal day job, or you want to make it your full-time day job. And I think that's the key. So you got two aspects. Either do it for yourself and just love it and don't give a monkey's what anyone else thinks. And you never know, you're always going to find a niche of people that have got the same views as you and going to go, we love your work, it's amazing. Or failing that, you're going to die, and in 20 years' time after you're dead, everyone's going to go, that guy was ace.
And then
We couldn't tell him when he was alive, but
it's no good to you because you're pushing up easies, isn't you? But there we are.
Yeah, no, might help your kids though.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
Yeah, you got to look at these things. So yeah, that's it. That's what the podcast is about. We're going to have little chats like this over subjects, and we're going to try and pick subjects, but we may just go off on a sidetrack because we're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a guest that we interview on a specific topic onto that as well. So have a look at the website. We're going to start to list stuff on there as to what episodes are available, etc., etc.
Got some amazing people coming on.
We have, yeah. The list just keeps getting longer and longer, and we're thinking we're going to do a short series to start with to get this kicking, but actually it's turning into a long series.
Yeah. And that includes me and you, though, Terry.
Does it?
Oh, well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, of course it does, mate. I'm going to grill you. Yeah, we're gonna find all those little bits out and look at everything. But that's the whole beauty of it, is looking at all this stuff and getting that information out there. Maybe inspiring you to go and do stuff. Maybe encouraging you to try a different style of photography that you've never thought of before. I keep looking at like Lewis with his medium format and just going back to that stuff, and I keep thinking, it'd be so nice. Yeah.
Location based, story based is always interesting as well, isn't it? Because I don't shoot these days just for the sake of shooting, whereas I used to.
Yeah,
I don't anymore, and that's really changed my perspective on what I do, to be honest. So, I think that would be quite an interesting debate in the future, and the different people we have on, and see where their photography has took them as a journey, and how it's built and created stories and exhibitions, for instance, and books, so on and so on.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot to share and to get out there, and I think the people we know have got a lot of information to put out as well, and that I'm really looking forward to. So
It'd be great.
Okay. Right, that's it from us, everyone. Just short and sweet, and we will catch you on the first full episode.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. It started already. We're going to pop. See you later, everyone.
Good day. See you later.
Yeah, bye.